It's time for the JMRA Football Podcast, a podcast for the fans by a fan. Yeah! Here's your host, Derek Jones.
It's time for another edition of the JMRA Football Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Jones, with you today to talk about the National Football League and discuss all things related to week number 3 in the NFL. You can check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching Joe Montana's Right Arm. Also, doing the Sunday Nickel every Monday up on the blog, joemontanasrightarm.com. Well, it was a very interesting week 3. And the rage of week 3, I'm actually not going to start where a lot of people have been starting, and that's with the Taylor Swift thing. I'm going to get to that in a little bit because we got some new news about that in the last 24 hours. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about this Eagles brotherly shove quarterback sneak thing, and because I'm in the throes of a debate on Twitter about this, because the same thing happens all the time. Whenever this has come up in the last year, undoubtedly, someone brings up, and in case you don't know what I'm talking about, the Eagles quarterback sneak play is causing all kinds of controversy because the Eagles, what they do is they just load up and Jalen Hurts sneaks it, pushing forward, but in some cases, he is pushed forward by his teammates. Like, that's what it is. So let's use that as a backdrop. And they've had just a ridiculous amount of success running the play. It's basically been unstoppable. So some people are up in arms about it. Chris Sims said that maybe the other teams in the NFL defenses should consider trying to just go in them with the mindset of killing the QB. I don't know about that, but it's a weird point to make, but I do think one of the tricks with this play is, you don't want to get your quarterback hurt, obviously. That's why the Chiefs don't run the quarterback sneak, because Patrick Mahomes got hurt a few years ago, and it was actually the year they won the Super Bowl. He injured his leg on a quarterback sneak. So you're not going to see teams go super bananas with this because they don't want to put their quarterback in danger, and also they don't have a quarterback who's squatting 600 pounds like Jalen Hurts. But anyhow, every time this has come up in the last year or so, someone on Twitter does the lazy math, the lazy exposition of saying, well, Tom Brady did it, so it must be okay. How come he is able to get away with it, but Jalen Hurts isn't? And this is all stemming from one New York Times photo that was talking about the Brady quarterback sneak, where I believe it's James Devlin is like trying to nudge him forward. So because someone took that photo, now we have people saying, well, Brady did it all the time. First of all, anyone who's saying that Brady did that all the time has not watched Patriots football. And of course you haven't, because you're watching your own team. It's such a bad faith, silly, I don't want to say dumb because it's too strong. It's just people don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's that simple. The Patriots, it's literally on YouTube. This is the thing that annoys me. People say this stuff about modern things that literally they can go on their computer and find out the answer to in like 5 minutes. Go on YouTube and search Brady QB sneaks, and you will see he's just diving straight ahead without help. It's just because one isolated photo, people have extrapolated that now to, oh, he did it for his whole career. we can't be this dumb. Well, I just called it dumb. I shouldn't say that. We can't be this easily conned. And there's another article saying Brady has been successful 7 of 8 times quarterback sneaking this year. They're talking about the traditional quarterback sneak. The 2011 AFC Championship game. Did he get pushed into the end zone? No, he dove over the top on a quarterback sneak. I mean, why? Why are we this daft with this stuff? Stop. Watch the games, people. Watch the games. You literally can go on YouTube and watch any of these games from like the last decade and see that he didn't do this. It's anyhow, I don't care if the Eagles stop running it. I don't care if they keep running it. It's fine. It's a play. Is it testing the limits of competitiveness or whatever? I don't think so. It's a play. You don't like it. This is what's going to happen. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, they will eventually get rid of the play and say you can't help people. But this has been a play that's always been in football. The most famous push in the history of arguably college football was the Bush push. Notre Dame, USC, 2005. Matt Leinart on, I believe, a goal to go. Yes, it was goal to go. He got pushed in the end zone by Reggie Bush on a quarterback sneak. And he had to, because if they get stopped there, the game's over. So that play has just been there. We've just never seen a combination of the NFL's best offensive line and a guy who squats 600 pounds working together. Now, the other question is, do you really need a guy squatting 600 pounds to get help? That's another point. But nonetheless, they can keep the play. It's just a silly argument. And I cannot stand every time somebody doesn't like something in the NFL that has anything remotely to do with quarterbacks. Well, you let Brady do it. Even if they let him do it, he won 7 Super Bowls. Oh, well, you let Brady do it. Of course they let Brady do it. What are we doing? Why are fans like this? Get off of Twitter. Watch the games. Jeez. This is not, the NFL is not rocket science. Watch the games. That's it. That's all you got to do. Watch the games. And it's not like Brady played for a team that was 5-11 every year. He was on national television damn near 3 out of every 5 weeks. Watch the games. That's it. People. Testing the limits of my patience. It's infuriating. I can't stand when people are that lazy. Turn on the TV. You're on your phone half the time anyways. Look it up. Jeez. All right. Let's get to some other business. Taylor Swift. So, Taylor Swift made an appearance at the Chiefs-Bears game on Sunday. And interestingly enough, it was revealed within the last 24 hours that reportedly she will be attending the Jets-Chiefs game on Sunday. And it's very interesting that she's showing up to these games. These are literally the 2 easiest games now on the Chiefs schedule. And we'll see. We'll see how things turn out on Sunday night. But it's hard times for the New York Football Jets these days because of Zach Wilson and really that unfortunate injury to Aaron Rodgers where he tears his Achilles against the Bills. I'll say this about the Taylor Swift thing. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I'm not a Swiftie. I don't classify myself as a Swiftie. But I do think a couple things. One, I think it is great for football that she is bringing in a new fan base. All of a sudden now you have people who are fans of Taylor Swift who are nowhere near close to being football fans trying to understand the game. I love that. Anytime people who don't know about football want to learn about football, I really enjoy that. I think there's a lot that can happen. A lot of positive stuff can happen when people actually take time to learn about football rather than, just making up narratives on Twitter. I think that's cool. So that's a big positive for the sport. Believe it or not. I mean, people might think I'm crazy for saying that, but that is a help. And that is going to help bring in the female audience for the NFL, which was already doing reasonably well in that area anyways. That's one of the reasons why it's so popular, because you have a wide range of fans. So there's that. The other perspective of this that I think is going to... We're not there yet because this is still new. And we haven't seen this play out yet in its totality in terms of the season and where the Chiefs are going to be. And we think the Chiefs will be in the running to win the Super Bowl again, and we think they're going to make a playoff run, all this stuff. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. No, not for the Chiefs, but for another team. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for a team to become a supervillain. Because what is going to happen, and you mark my words, it's only a matter of time before this takes place. There is going to be a team, there is going to be players that at some point in time, may not be week 7, may not be week 9, may not be week 13, but it's going to happen. There is going to be a team that is going to take all of this attention and all of this emotion and all of this, the positive, fun vibes that are happening in favor of the Chiefs and Travis Kelce. And they're going to use it as motivation. Can you imagine you turn on your television in late January and the Miami Dolphins are playing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game and the Dolphins beat the Chiefs with Taylor Swift in the building? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the heat? This is where we achieve peak football. Life is very simple. Everyday life, very simple. Movies are very simple. Sports is very simple. There's a good guy and there's a bad guy. That's how it works. Pick any movie. There's a protagonist and there's an antagonist. There's a hero and a villain. A face and a heel. I love pro wrestling. This is right up my alley. This is the opportunity to create a great heel in the NFL if someone takes down the Chiefs moving forward. We'll see how this plays out. It's very, it's still an evolving thing with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. We'll see where it goes. Clearly, so now some people were like, yeah, this is fake. I don't know if it's fake. 1 game, I could see that. 2 games, now we're stretching a little bit. You know, the TMZ photos came out with her having her arm around Travis Kelce. I mean, I'm not gonna. We'll pull up short of saying it's fake. Taylor Swift's one of the 3 most recognizable people in the world. One of the most popular celebrities out there. She's not going to do something unless she wants to do it. So, the angle that it's fake, I don't believe that. Now, where this goes from here, we'll see. But it's going to be very interesting to kind of monitor this because one of the things that coaches don't like is distractions. And, I'm not saying Taylor Swift's a distraction, but that is a 3-ring circus that she brings with her. Like that level of attention. And I mean, you look at the I think it was Jason Kelce who said on their New Heights podcast with his brother Travis that came out yesterday, he said that there was it seemed like some fire code was being violated in that suite. How many people were in there? My goodness. But I'll tell you, it's going to be very intriguing to see if she's showing up to Chiefs-Bills, Chiefs-Eagles on Monday Night Football. That's a little different because those games, you can't be about to BS in those games. Those games are serious business. And if she's showing up to those games, I mean, that's great. And I think clearly all the broadcast partners are rooting for that, but you're talking about a situation where, man, Oh, that's gonna bring a whole level of attention to the team. Now, some guys, the Chiefs, I think, have been around enough to where they can maybe block that noise out, but that's pushing the limits, because you're not talking about some supermodel or somebody who's famous on social media. You're talking about the star of stars right now. And that is really one of the big challenges coming up here for the Chiefs. If this is a large, long-term thing, how do you navigate that? That's one of the things that's so exciting about this. Them actually dating or not, that's secondary to me. I want to know, how is this going to affect what we see on the field? Is it going to distract Travis Kelce? Is it going to distract the Chiefs? That's what I want to know. If they get married and ride off into the sunset, great. Awesome. How does that affect who's going to win the Super Bowl? That's what is of interest to me. Now, before we switch gears, I want to play a clip. I had to play this because this is awesome. This is from First Take, and it is Christopher Russo talking about Taylor Swift showing up to watch Travis Kelce play. This clip is hilarious, from First Take on ESPN.
Oh my God, I can look at this! That mother didn't want her in there! She wants to enjoy her son! And who takes their girlfriend 2 minutes into a relationship to visit mommy and daddy? Nobody does that! And then we gotta show them walking out. And now all of a sudden she's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. She's never heard of Lenny Dawson!
Wait, hold on.
Oh my God!
I mean, Mad Dog does have a good point. Does Taylor Swift know who Lenny Dawson is? Does she know who Otis Taylor is? Does she know who Jan Stenerud is? Does she know who Neil Smith is? Derek Thomas, Kevin Ross. Does she know those guys? Nick Lowry, Steve DeBerg, Stephon Page. Does she know Jonathan Hayes or Dave Craig? Does she know who John Alt is? I mean, these are important things. Tim Grunhard. Does she know who that is? She better know who Joe Montana is. Does she know Willie Davis or J.J. Burden or Kimball Anders or Todd McNair? That's what I want to know. Does she know who these people that play for the Chiefs historically are? Are you familiar with Hank Stram, Todd Blackledge? Who are these people? That's what I want. Is she familiar with Chiefs era Andre Rison or Elvis Gerbach or Lynn Elliott? That's important to know. Okay, couple takeaways from week number 3. Covered some of this in the Sunday Nickel on JoeMontana'sRightArm.com, but I want to hop into some of this stuff further. Number 1. Man, I don't know who's doing it better right now than the Dolphins. And we'll see if the Dolphins can actually hold this together. Remember, they started out very well last season and couldn't keep it going because of the injury to Tua and the concussions. That's when that really took place. They played very well offensively through the first 3 games, but this is different. Right now, I'm a big DVOA guy and Aaron Schatz. This is, according to Aaron Schatz, the greatest offense through 3 games in NFL history. So the Dolphins, of course, ran up 70 points on the Broncos on Sunday, beat them by 50, 70-20. First time an NFL team scored 70 points in a game since the Washington Commanders did it against the New York Giants back in 1966, 72-41. The Dolphins were close to the actual NFL record, which is 73 points for all games. The Bears scored 73 in the NFL championship game in 1940. A couple things here. Number 1, this is a statement about, obviously, the Dolphins, who ran up over 700 yards of total offense, but it's also an indictment, in my opinion, of the Broncos. They need to clean house. And I know it's like, well, they just got a head coach. No. They need to start over again. That needs a rebuild. Russell Wilson is shot. He's done. Now, his numbers, if you look at them so far from a fantasy football perspective, are fine. But that's not what this is about. He doesn't have it anymore. But aside from that, The biggest issue is the defense. You can't have a defense give up 70 points in an NFL game. I don't care who's on the other sideline. I don't care if it's the 89 49ers, 99 Rams, 92 Cowboys combining a super team. You can't allow 70 points in an NFL game. That's what happened as the Dolphins crushing the Broncos. And now Miami turns really towards a very interesting part of their schedule. It starts on Sunday with the Bills as they go back to Orchard Park. The Dolphins have the Eagles coming up on the schedule in the next few weeks as well. They have the Chiefs in Germany, which is very unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen that game be played in either Miami or Kansas City, but it'll be in Germany, so we'll see how things break out from there. I think this is a very good opportunity here for the Dolphins to make a run in the AFC. And of course, it's about the health of Tua. But the other thing, too, they've got to keep Tyreek Hill healthy because he's the guy. 9 catches, 157 yards, and a score. I think if I had an MVP vote right now, it would be for Tyreek Hill. It would not be for Tua because Tyreek Hill is the guy who makes that offense work. They had no Jalen Waddle on Sunday and still scored 70 points on the Broncos. That is pretty legit. Number 2, the Dallas Cowboys. You know, I think I'm not going to panic necessarily on the Cowboys because of kind of how the week played out. Trayvon Diggs suffers a torn ACL. So that puts really a crimp in their plans from a defensive standpoint late in the week. And then they're missing 3 offensive linemen as well due to injury. They probably thought to a degree, they're like, hey, we can probably get away with this. It's the Cardinals. They stink. We'll figure it out. And they had their opportunities to get back in the game after starting out slow, but they could not. Dak Prescott throwing a terrible interception in the end zone late in the second half where there are 3 defenders there. I don't know what he was looking at, but he, I guess, was either trying to trick the defender or something because he just threw right into the teeth of the defense. Terrible throw by Prescott. And this is the problem with the Cowboys. You know, they don't do well with prosperity at times. Coming up now on their schedule, they've got the Patriots, which they should win that game to go to 3-1. They have the Chargers. I think they should win that game, but it's still going to be tricky. So you have Patriots, Chargers, Rams, 49ers, Eagles. That's basically their upcoming schedule. That's going to be tough. The 49ers game is actually next weekend, following up the Patriots game. So this is a very challenging stretch. So that makes Sunday's game against the Patriots just gotta have it. You know, the Cowboys, for all of the bravado and the flash that they bring to the table, they have not been a consistently great franchise since the 90s, and they're trying to make the playoffs for a 3rd year in a row, which I believe has not happened since the mid-90s. That was the last time they made the playoffs 3 years in a row, which is crazy to think about because they've been in the playoffs a pretty good amount since 2000, but the success hasn't been there, but they haven't been able to duplicate that. The last time they made the playoffs 3 years in a row, how about this? 94, 95, 96. Okay? And that was a part of the run where they made the playoffs 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. 6 straight years. They missed in 97, got back there in 98, were there in 99. So in the 90s, they only missed the playoffs twice. 90 and 97. That's it. So they're trying to get that mojo back. And a game like Sunday against the Cardinals, that did not help. They were terrible in the red zone. 1 of 5 in the red zone. Inexcusable. And they've got to figure that out before they get to the 49ers. That's for sure. The AFC South, boy. You know, the Jaguars had an easy schedule this year, and they still do. But you wonder at 1-2, kind of, is the bloom off the rose a little bit? Surely they have time to recover in that division, but that's going to be a tougher division than I think a lot of people thought. A little bit more bunched in than a lot of people thought. The Texans have a little life now with C.J. Stroud at quarterback. He looks very good. The Colts have shown some life, upsetting the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. The Colts are 2-1. That's kind of surprising. And not all of that is because of Anthony Richardson. You know, Gardner Minshew has come in, and And look, I think coming into the year, you had to know that he was going to play at some point just because of A, Anthony Richardson being a rookie, and B, Richardson runs a lot, and the running quarterbacks, they get hurt. It's just, that's just the way that it is. A lot of those guys suffer injuries because that's a physical style of football to play, man. And when you do that, you leave yourself open for injury. So I think it's cool that the AFC South is up for grabs pretty much this year. We'll see how things play out. They're going up against the NFC South on the other side, which is also up for grabs. We saw on Sunday and Monday, the Saints lost. They blew a 17-point lead to the Packers on Sunday. That was rough. Tampa losing on Monday night easily to the Eagles, 25-11. The Falcons losing to the Lions as well. So, it's not really and Carolina losing as well. Not a good week for the NFC South. They're kind of in the same boat as the AFC South. So I'm interested to see where both of those divisions go. Next up, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. Now, look, I'm not going to pile on in here and spend the next couple minutes talking about how much he stinks. But they've got to do something because you run the risk of just having the same thing that happened last year happening again. If they play well, then people are going to say, well, it's only a matter of time before Zach Wilson struggles again. And that you don't want that. So the question is, what do you do? The problem is, I don't think there is anything you can do. There's nothing. They let Mike White, and I get it, they let Mike White walk. Makes sense because you have Aaron Rodgers. You don't need Mike White, Zach Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. But now they're caught. And unfortunately, I think you got to play this hand out. Bringing in a journeyman quarterback, bringing in a Carson Wentz, who is you think Zach Wilson's a turnover machine. What do you think Carson Wentz is? And he's even a more polarizing figure than Zach Wilson. At least there are people that seem to like Zach Wilson. I don't know if you can say the same for Carson Wentz. That's a whole different discussion right there. I think that's a big problem. But for the Jets, they've got a large issue on their hands because not only is Zach Wilson struggling, but if this keeps up, you're going to have a high draft pick. Do you take a quarterback next year, even though Aaron Rodgers is probably coming back? And if you do, is he going to be butthurt about it? I mean, that's kind of the problem. So if you take one, is he going to be mad? I think that's a legitimate thing that you have to try to figure out. And if they have a high pick, if I were them, I actually wouldn't take a quarterback. I'd worry about the offensive line because that offensive line needs a massive amount of help, I think, to get things going because that offensive line has not played well at all. But, Zach Wilson's problem is that and his confidence. He's not playing well. They were facing a 4th and 10 from their 45 in the game on Sunday against the Patriots late. And in the play of the game, this is trying to save the game. He threw a 2-yard pass to Tyler Conklin. What are you doing? That's you can't have that lack of confidence at the quarterback position with this defense. The defense is good. It's not, people are, it's the 85 Bears. No, it's not. Go back and watch it again. When you make these comparisons, watch the game. Go back and watch the 85 Bears. Is anything that you're seeing with the Jets and the 85 Bears resembling each other? No. We had to hear all week about how Micah Parsons was Lawrence Taylor too. Where was he on Sunday? Nowhere to be found. Stop it with these. You're going to do comparisons. Show me something, please. I mean, this is nuts. People are just losing their minds. I don't understand it. All right, let's jump elsewhere around the NFL as we close things out here. The Giants losing the 49ers on Thursday Night Football 30-12. The 49ers eventually played all right, but it was a little bit of a struggle for them before they shook the Giants. Brock Purdy, 310 yards passing. Christian McCaffrey, 85 yards. And another solid day for him. Debo, 129 through the air. Browns, 27. Titans, 3. Keep your eye on the Browns. That defense for Cleveland has been very, very, very good so far this season. We'll see if they can keep that going. Detroit, 20-6 win over Atlanta. The Falcons need help throwing the football. That's the bottom line, and I don't know if that includes replacing the quarterback at some point, but it is an issue. Packers 18, Saints 17, as we alluded to a few moments ago. Big moment for Jordan Love to get the team to come back, 259 yards passing for Love as the Packers get the 1-point win in their season opener at home. The Texans crushing the Jaguars 37-17. We talked about C.J. Stroud, 280 yards passing. Tank Dell, 145 yards receiving through the air. The Chargers and Vikings, 28-24. The win goes to the Chargers, who had no business winning that game after they go for it on 4th and 1 from their 24-yard line late in the fourth quarter. They don't get it because, it's an 88% chance of winning the game. There's a 100% chance you will lose a game if you run that play and don't get it unless you're playing the Vikings this year. And that's what happened because Kirk Cousins threw an interception soon after as the Vikings were just kind of milling around, wasting time. They're having communication issues, and eventually led to Kirk Cousins throwing an interception late to save the Chargers bacon. Brandon Staley, I'll tell you what's that saying? Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. He's never heard that statement ever. My goodness. Talking about the Patriots and the Jets a little bit. 15-10 win for the Patriots. And look, not really. I mean, that game was what you expected. Low-scoring defensive battle between two teams that need better quarterback play. Colts 22, Ravens 19. Huge win for the Colts. Gardner Minshew, 227 yards through the air. How about Zach Moss filling in for Jonathan Taylor, 122 yards on the ground. Big-time effort by the Colts to win in OT. The Bills crushed the Commanders 37-3. Sam Howell was picked off 4 times. Josh Allen getting back into the groove of things. 218 yards through the air. Stephon Diggs, 111 receiving. The Panthers losing to the Seahawks 37-27. Rough outing for the Carolina Panthers as Andy Dalton threw for 361 yards, replacing the injured Bryce Young, but Seattle just a step ahead of Carolina each bit of the way. The Cardinals with a 28-16 win over the Cowboys. The Chiefs 41-10 win over the Bears. Look, I'll say this about the Bears. The Bears need a new everything. They need a new everything. Coach, quarterback. They legit, as close as you can get to starting from scratch, they need to do it. They need to hit the reset button hard. I think the Justin Fields era is donezo. Steelers defeating the Raiders 23-18 on Sunday Night Football. I don't know what the Raiders were doing in the fourth quarter. Like you're down 8. Why are you kicking a field goal? You're not getting the, what do you think is going to happen? You give up a first down, the game's over, dude. Bad mistakes made by the Raiders in terms of game management. And go on Chandler Jones's Twitter this morning. Oh my God, that is a cesspool of activity this morning. Eagles on Monday Night Football defeat the Bucks 25-11. Jalen Hurts 277 through the air. Their passing game still looks off, but DeAndre Swift 130 yards on the ground. He's been a tremendous addition so far for the Eagles. Last 2 games, well over 100 yards rushing for DeAndre Swift. A.J. Brown, 131 in receiving. And the Rams and Bengals. Bengals, 19-16 win over the Rams. Bengals still don't look right offensively. Joe Burrow still kind of working through that calf injury, but Jamar Chase, huge on Monday night, 141 yards receiving for the victorious Bengals. And that caps this week's JMRA Football Podcast. We will talk to you again very, 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 very soon. Enjoy Thursday night, and happy football, everybody. See ya.